Are we live? Let's go live. Hey, everybody. This is David Kellum, voice of the Rebels, and this is Grove Collection Day. And I've got my man, Executive Director Walker Jones, who I used to call his games. That was a long time ago.
Don't tell everybody how long ago that was.
A few years back. But they had a lot of success, had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
He's a diehard Rebel, and we're going to have a fun day today, and we're really pleased that you've tuned in to be part of our event. But Walker, I just want to start with your connection to this, your willingness to do this, and why we're here.
Yeah. Well, thank you, DK. Obviously, it's great having you, and as you said, you and I go way back. But yeah, look, it's the world of college athletics literally is changing day by day, week by week, and we're almost kind of a year to the date when I agreed to come on and take over the collective that had been started by William Liston, who did a great job getting the collective started when nobody really even knew what a collective was,
Right.
including me.
Right.
So it's kind of almost a milestone for us being a year into this thing when we relaunched it last year and really put a concerted effort behind trying to have a very highly functioning and efficient collective. Mm-hmm. And look, that took some education. It took education from me to figure out what was happening on the NIL landscape. And then really, how can we, understanding the kind of ambiguous and undefined nature of NIL, how do we put our best foot forward? Mm-hmm. And so I spent, a couple months kind of, researching it, talking to a lot of really smart people about it, and really came up with an idea that I, Keith and myself, the chancellor, some of the other coaches and stakeholders involved put together. And really, David, it was, number one, we need to consolidate and have everybody on the same page.
Right.
We can't have multiple collectives running around. Number two, we need to run like a real business. We need to have staff. We need to have an office here, infrastructure, and not run it as kind of a side hobby or just a passion play. We wanted it to be a collective for all our student athletes, not just football or basketball. We wanted all our men and women, the 400 plus student athletes here that so choose to take part in NIL. We wanted to have a platform for them. So that was really important. And then finally, we wanted to do it compliant and legal. Yeah. You talked about my old playing days. I played here for 3 years under the second worst probation in NCAA history. So I do not want to go back to that. Matter of fact, I think I was the only player they weren't paying at the time. Hence the probation. But I say all that to say, look, I've seen what happens if you run afoul of those rules and enforcement, how devastating it can be. So we want to be very progressive, very creative, but we're going to do it within the letter of the law. Our state law, the NCAA enforcement. And look, there's a lot of gray area there, so we're having to kind of feel our way through it. But today symbolizes kind of a year anniversary and a call to action for our fans. We're 2 weeks from the first home game in football. First day of classes today. Driving into campus today was really cool, seeing all the kids walking to class.
Difficult, too.
Very difficult, very challenging. It wasn't like when I used to go to class and there's cars everywhere. But, so first day of class, kicking off the 2023-24 season. And this day of collection and day of giving is really, DK, to give us a continued leg up on our competition. We're leading from the front right now, a position of strength. But with the current model now, we have to keep giving. And today is about that.
What are the keys for our fans to know about? How do I do this? How do I participate today?
Yeah, really, there's a lot of different ways you can support us. So really the easiest way is go to our website, www.grovecollective.com, and join, donate, top of the page. It'll take you to our 8 giving levels for individuals. We also have a corporate sponsor page where there's 3 different corporate sponsor giving levels. And then if you're already a member, there's a chance to make a one-time donation. There's a chance to upgrade your membership to a higher level. And then we're going to have some really cool promotions, which we're going to detail here today about some of the giveaways and some of the rewards that if you're a current member and you refer the most members to the collective, or you upgrade your membership, or if you're a new member and you join today, we're going to have some really cool giveaways for that. So really go to the website, click join, donate. It's pretty self-explanatory in there. Follow us on social media. We're going to be dropping all these promotions on social media out throughout the day. And then we have a number and we have an email that you can call or email us directly if you have any questions or get hung up along the way.
Hey, it's going to be a fun day. We have some great guests. We have 5 of our head coaches that will be here today.
That's right.
Coming up in the next segment, in fact, we're going to visit with Athletic Director Keith Carter, Robin Tannehill, who is our mayor, the best mayor in the entire country.
No doubt.
I promise you. Robin's
doubt.
loved her, known her for a long time, so we get to visit with both of them and talk a little bit about what the city of Oxford's about to do too.
Yeah, really, everybody that loves Ole Miss loves Oxford. And everybody
Right.
loves Oxford loves Ole Miss. It's such a great town and gown relationship. And as you said, Mayor's been a great partner. And we reached out to her a couple weeks ago about really trying to harness the business community and help us, because everybody knows there's a direct correlation between successful athletic programs and the city and all the wonderful things we love about Oxford. So we've got a really cool thing that we'll talk about with Mayor that'll give our people here, both our local and regional businesses, the opportunity to support the men and women who are competing and playing for Ole Miss, but also help their business. We have, DK, right now we're right at about 5,000 members. We hope to get to 7,000 here quickly, and that's one of the drives we're going to have today. But these businesses can have access to those 5,000 members to help support their business, to drive traffic, help them build their brand. So I think that's just going to be a really cool thing. And again, if we weren't going to, it's really a no-brainer when you want to utilize and harness all the power the city of Oxford has.
Hey, we're going to get more from Walker as we move along. He's been to Washington, done all these fancy things too that we're going to talk about too. But we'll take a break. When we come back, Robin Tannehill and Keith Carter. Hey, welcome back to Grove Collection Day Show. Again, I'm David Cohen. We got Walker Jones, Executive Director of the Grove Collective, and I know a lot of you that are watching this are wondering, what is this all about? We kind of touched on that a moment ago. You may be late starting, and we'll continue to do that, but we've already got people participating, Walker, at this point.
We do. We've had a fair amount of new members sign up. We've had, I think, over 25 upgrade their current membership. And we've also had 2 new corporate sponsors come up today, too. So new corporate sponsors, new members are joining. We're getting a ton of questions with the staff outside about, referring people. So people are paying attention, which is great. So we're off to a good start. So.
We have our athletic director, Keith Carter, here. Great to have Keith. Good to see you, my friend. If they had NIL when you were playing, you might have done pretty good,
Yeah, some high sock deals and maybe a John Deere hat every now and then. But,
John Deere hat.
Not bad, but no, really happy.
Would you have negotiated your own deal, or would you have hired an agent?
I would have been an easy negotiator back then, maybe a
$50.
meal at Smitty's or something, So,
Andy,
that's right, it would have been good.
Yeah.
But no, we're obviously really happy that our young people are getting these opportunities and really appreciate the Grove Collective for what they're doing.
We have Mayor Robin Tannehill. Hey, how are you, my dear?
Wonderful.
Great
How are
to
you?
see you.
It's
I'm
a
doing
great day to
great.
be
We've
in
been
Oxford
known
and
each
Ole
other for a
Miss.
long time. And we get the summer months where it kind of slows down, and those of us that live here, you can get around town pretty good, and then
Towny
they all
time.
come back, and you complain about 30 seconds, you realize, oh no, this is why we're here.
That's
so
right.
it is cool to see all the students came back early for Rush, and the town has just been hopping over the last few days.
It has been. We love to see it. This is such an exciting time of year when you get, this year, more than 5,000 18-year-olds that have life by the tail and just having an amazing energy level. And it's just, that's what makes fall so cool in Oxford is all the folks coming back to school, excited for another year, starting classes today. I'm sure that's what they're all focused on today, is that first day of classes. But and we get their parents too.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful time to be in Oxford.
Traffic was crazy, so some of them were late for class because I was still out there
Well-
driving around 7:45, and I said, "You ain't gonna make it."
A couple of thousand extra cars this year will do that to
Let me ask you a
our
quick
2-lane streets.
personal question too.
Okay.
Okay, so several years you've been involved in the city of Oxford a long time, but a few years ago you decided I'm gonna run for mayor, and you did so. You've won, and you've been in that position for a while. Has it lived up to the expectations, and have you enjoyed, the position to this point?
I do. I mean, I'm so blessed to have a university town to promote. And when you look around the state of Mississippi, you realize that Oxford and Ole Miss are the major economic drivers of the north half of the state. And we have so many citizens that care. We have so many people that step up to the plate to leave it better than they found it. And having great partners like Keith and the Ole Miss Athletic Department is one of the things that makes this job so great. We really have the opportunity to push the needle, and we do that together. We succeed together. We're challenged together. The town and gown relationship is so intertwined, and it's wonderful. It's been a blessing to serve, and I love my job every day.
Keith, you decided to come back here and live here, even when you're playing overseas, for several years. Oxford has been your home. I pick at him about being a guy from Arkansas. He always reminds me, hey, DK, I've been in Mississippi
That's
longer than
right.
Arkansas
That's
now.
right. That's
But the
right.
relationship between the athletic department and the city's been good, hasn't it?
It's been great, and not just the athletic department, the university as a whole. I mean, one doesn't really exist without the other, and I think we all know that. And as Robin mentioned, I mean, there are times when we have to work through challenges and different things, and when you're bringing in 20 to 25,000 students into the town of Oxford with the infrastructure that we have, there are challenges at times, and obviously football weekends and those type of things. But that's what makes our little city great. It really does. And so it's been awesome to work with Robin and her team, and the chancellor. Working with her as well has been really good, and we know it's just going to get better and better.
NIL is a new competitive piece. You got to be the best at it. Having Walker is huge, obviously, but just your thoughts about where we are today in this atmosphere.
Well, it's a new ball game. It really is, and I think that where we are and where we've really come in really about 2.5 years of NIL. It's pretty interesting to see where we are. I think Walker and his team with the Grove Collective have done a fantastic job. All the things that he mentioned in the open, of being aggressive and being proactive in the space, being creative, but doing it the right way. And I think that was really, really important. Walker and I talked a lot as we were kind of trying to figure out where we were going to go with the collective, and it's been really, really good. And I think it's been to the benefit of our student athletes. I think they've been the beneficiaries of that. And that's why we're here today, because we need to continue that and continue to push that forward. But it's been great. And as I mentioned before, I love the fact that our young people are getting these opportunities. We just got to keep it going.
Walker, you and Robin have already had conversations. What's fixing to happen between you and the city of Oxford?
Well, look, this is where, when you have such great, stakeholders like the city of Oxford and the university and the athletic department, it brings so many opportunities that are, again, as Keith said, worthwhile for our student athletes. And, I've always said, and as, we were talking in the opening about, we're kind of a year to the date when we launched the collective. And, for me personally, and I know Keith shared in this as well in our conversations early on, was we wanted our athletes to have access to other resources outside of just the compensation. Because I do think, we have a responsibility to them to, again, not only compensate them, but to help them deal with this whole new world that we didn't, as Keith and I, as student athletes, didn't have to worry about. And so, resources, relationships, the ability to maximize their NIL, to open themselves up, to network with all not only the alumni base, but the city of Oxford and all the businesses. I think there's over 700 businesses in the Oxford Chamber of Commerce, and so many wonderful people that not only love Ole Miss, but are really smart business professionals. And so as we started just kind of brainstorming and thinking about it, and again, having a wonderful partner with Robin, we thought about putting together this Oxford Business Coalition that would give our businesses the ability to support the student athletes, give us the ability to try to help promote those businesses, but also have the athletes involved in that whole process, so they learn what it means to be a brand ambassador or a ambassador for a business. And we met with Robin a couple weeks ago, and she was certainly willing and gave us a ton of really good ideas about how to engage with the business community. So Robin, I think as we kind of talked about this platform, again, not only so, everybody can win in this, our businesses, our athletes, and, if you want to kind of tell them a little bit just about the Oxford, or actually the Grove Collective Business Coalition that we're putting together.
Sure. Well, the businesses in Oxford are always looking for an opportunity to partner with Ole Miss, and I think this is the obvious way for our businesses to say thank you for what the university brings to our community all year long through different sporting events, the benefit that the town gets from Ole Miss athletics just can't be, overestimated. It's enormous. And, successful teams make a large difference in the economy of Oxford. I mean, if you look at a successful football season versus one that's not, you can look straight down the sales tax revenues and tell whether or not it was a successful fall. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
And so this gives an opportunity not only for businesses to be involved, but for our players to become part of the community. And, I encourage them every time I talk to students, don't just think of yourself as a student at Ole Miss. Think of yourself as a resident of Oxford, because it's a community that wants to embrace you, that wants you to be a part of it. And I think this provides that. And, we are encouraging businesses that would like to be a part of the Grove Collective Business Coalition to donate a portion of your revenues starting today for the next 7 days. It's an exciting opportunity. And then we'll do this again several more times this year. Once a quarter is the goal to have these weeks where Oxford businesses step up to the plate. And in return, you're going to get some great marketing. You're going to get some players that are part of the Grove Collective to promote your business. You're going to have a sticker that goes in the window that says Grove Collective Business Coalition, but also says, I believe in this community, I believe in Ole Miss sports, and I want to be a part of taking it to the next level. So we appreciate the opportunity for our business community to be a part of this, and we appreciate both of you and all that you do to promote our community.
Yeah. Well, again, that's well said, and we have, again, such a great selection of businesses for our young men and women to engage in. So there'll be more details coming out that. We're going to be pushing that on social media. We're also going to be releasing some more information. And something really neat that we're doing is we've gotten the 9 student athletes that are from Oxford to come on with the collective and be an ambassador for this coalition.
Oh, good.
And they're going to be going out, and we're challenging them kind of making it a little bit of challenge between the 9 who can sign up the most businesses around town.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so the student athletes here at Ole Miss that are from the city of Oxford, and we have 9 of them across various sports, are going to be going around and trying to sign up the businesses in town as ambassadors for the collective in this business coalition. So really excited about that, you know, and really what that will bear for us and the opportunities there. So. Really-
That's a high number, isn't it? Because I mean, you think about the level of competition we are in the SEC and all, and you always want your local kids to get an opportunity to go play for Ole Miss. But to have 9, they're legitimate 9 student athletes that qualify and are good enough to be part of our athletic program.
Yeah, I mean, you look around Oxford, and you've got obviously Oxford High School and Lafayette High School, and both of those have tremendous, athletic programs and pump out a lot of great players in all the sports. And so it's cool when they get to stay home and play for their hometown school, and they have a lot of pride doing that.
Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Chris Beard, head basketball coach, brand new head basketball coach, is here. We'll get a chance to visit with him. I don't know if Keith could have made his team he's got this year. It's a pretty good team.
I think he
Keith
would
made it.
have.
Yeah,
I
Keith
can
made
survive
it.
those
I
practices.
think he would have. And I will say before we go, just again, and we say it all the time, a big thanks to Keith
Yes.
and his staff, because I've said it, there's no greater example of success when you look at the NIL landscape and the collectives. The ones that are having the most success are the ones that have been able to work seamlessly with their athletic departments, their administrations, their foundations. And Keith and the chancellor kind of cleared the way for me and our staff back a year ago for us to be able to have success because we have to have their support. Because we don't have a big staff, and they have so many resources that we can tap into per our state law. And so again, a big thanks to Keith and his staff, because as I said back then, and I'll say it now, we would not be nearly as successful or as efficient as we are without his leadership and his guidance and his ability to offer up some efficiencies and some resources that we otherwise wouldn't have. So, Keith is just as big a part of this as anybody, and our people need to understand that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Enjoy the week.
Thank
It's going to be a lot of
you.
fun.
We will.
No doubt
Yes.
about it. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Hey, welcome back to the Grove Collection Show. David Cohen, Walker Jones with you again as we're rolling along on this day. It's going to be a big week of you participating in name, image, and likeness donations. And in fact, Walker's got an update. This is like a telethon. What
Yeah,
you
it's
got?
like I feel like a Jerry Lewis telethon up here. You know, back in the old days, had celebrities out there answering the phones.
Right.
So our staff's outside. So as of right now, we're 30 minutes into this. We've had $35,000 on one-time donations to the website, and we just got our first 2 six-figure gifts from anonymous donors.
Awesome.
So six-figure gifts coming in. So people are listening. They're believing in the mission, and we're off to a great start. So we're excited.
We've got a wonderful special guest. He's going to be our first coach of the day. I don't know if you chose that or you drew the short straw, Coach, but anyway, we're so glad to have you here. Chris Beard has been hired as our new head men's basketball coach at Ole Miss, and I know you've hit the ground running, and we'll talk about collective in a moment. We won't talk hoops. What's it been like coming to Oxford and getting settled in SEC basketball at Ole Miss?
Yeah, it's been great. First of all, today, first day of classes, first day of semester, there's always an energy on a college campus. But I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like this. And I've seen some great energies on some great campuses, but today there's just a feeling around here. So it's always exciting to kind of start the school year because in a lot of ways that's starting our basketball journey as well.
In a strange way, since you're first-year coach, everybody was new for you as opposed to maybe having to deal with, trying to figure out the NIL piece, so to speak, but it was also, figuring out who's going to stay, retention, and then getting on the road, getting some transfers, new kids. All of it came together seemingly very well. I know our fan base is super excited about the roster that you guys have put together.
Yeah, coaching changes are always hard. They're difficult. There's a lot of challenges. But with every challenge and with anything difficult in life, basketball is no different. There's also great opportunity. So there's a lot of optimism around our program right now. It comes from several different sources. One, what a great time to be at Ole Miss and what a great time to be in Oxford. The other athletic programs are having great success, the university in whole, the city. It's just a great time. Timing is everything in life. Athletics is no different. Two, we feel like we got some good players. We put together a team that'll contribute in different ways. Returners, guys that played for Kermit Davis, some I have a lot of respect for and appreciation for. We were able to get some transfers, which keeps us older and more experienced, which I think is a non-negotiable to winning college basketball. And thirdly, even though we got the job late, we were able to have a couple of guys in a freshman recruiting class. So the combination of those three groups, I think we're going to have a good team.
I know you and Keith had great conversations when you got hired. Facility-wise, you're pleased with that. You surrounded yourself with a pretty good staff, too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Facilities, top-notch. There's not a better on-campus arena in all of college basketball than the Pavilion, and I feel the same way about our practice facility. Both buildings not only are beautiful and functional, but they're also very efficient for our players. The location, the ability to have player development all day long in an efficient way. So we have some great facilities at Ole Miss, and there's a lot of great people behind those facilities. And I know today's about name, image, and likeness, but also want to recognize all the other work that the great Ole Miss donors have done over the year, including the basketball facilities.
What's it been like? This is new. You're the first head coach we've had, but what's it been like having to deal with NIL, kind of a new piece to being a college coach?
Yeah, I think coaching's all about adapting, and winning's all about adapting. So we don't spend a lot of time thinking about all the challenges. We just spend a lot of time figuring out how to win within the challenges. So I've always been a proponent from day one, even on a national level, that I thought name, image, and likeness was a great thing. I'm so happy and pleased that our players can benefit. College basketball is a lucrative business, and it's great to see the players benefit. Our players are able to help their families. Just little things like this, and they're not little. They sound simple, but it's actually a big thing. Is our players now have the ability for their families to come see them play on almost a regular basis, and that never existed before in college basketball. Also, it's another opportunity to teach our players, and ultimately, it's what coaching is. And so, what an avenue and what a pathway and opportunity we have to teach our guys about money management and about making smart decisions. One thing is about taxes. We have a couple guys on our team that didn't understand that you live in the best country in the world, but that comes with a price.
Yeah, you got to pay a few taxes.
And it's like, Coach, we talked again in the world of NIL, and every sport's a little different. Football's got different challenges than baseball and basketball and the other sports and all that. But You know, in basketball, you know, because of the numbers, you can get good really quick, and you can go reshape your roster in a short amount of time because of the portal and because of NIL. And we saw it in last year's NCAA tournament. I think the first time in a long time, no number one team made the Final Four, and a bunch of teams had a deep run that had almost complete new rosters. You know, as you and the staff kind of work through that, and, you know, again, the ability to reshape the roster, as DK said, you know, mold all those different pieces. I think we got 6 portal players coming in along with the 4 returners. Like, not only the ability to be able to reshape your roster, but also how you mold them in and how important the summer is. We saw a really cool video this weekend of the summer, and it looks like the guys are really kind of molding together. But the challenge that obviously the benefit to reshape your roster, but also the challenge in terms of understanding the system and the program and the coaching staff, you know, that created for coaches.
Yeah, I mean, the goal and the objective to put together a winning team and a team sport is no different than putting together a business or even having a successful family. It's about having talented people that care and have passion and are really good individually, but that alone doesn't get it done. You know, the pieces of the puzzle have to fit. And so one source of our optimism right now with basketball here in our first season is we feel like we have some talented players, but equally important, we feel like we have some players that fit together. And I am pleased with that. Our coaching staff deserves a lot of credit. Our players deserve a lot of credit. You know, the best recruiters we have are our current players. And so it was a real team effort this spring and summer to put together this roster. And we don't shy away from expectations. We believe we have a chance to be competitive.
You know, I've talked to some other coaches too about challenging the players to get to know each other quickly. You know, there's a lot of newness here, but you know, don't be shy. Get out there and get to know each other. My favorite video of the summer was them throwing you in a swimming pool. I thought that's a bonding moment right there for sure, you know, where you get a chance to hang out with them and try to get to know them and understand them as fast as you can.
That's a big part about winning. You know, our word is culture. It's become kind of a buzzword in college athletics, but we were talking about culture way back when no one else was talking about culture, but it's basically just the way we do things, the things that we believe in. And we've done a good job. This summer, we're basically building the summer. We're still building it. And hopefully at a point here real soon, we can start defending it. But we still are in the building stages. And one part about that is, you know, having some joy and having some fun. And we don't apologize for that. We believe that we work as hard as anybody in college basketball. But we also believe that we have more fun than anybody. And so, yeah, it was a great summer. At the core of all that fun and all that work is really trying to build relationships, because in year one, to try to win early, the biggest obstacle by far is time, because we're competing against teams that have been together, players that have played together, coaches that have worked together. So when you think about trying to win in the SEC, as daunting as that task is, we're fighting time more than anything. So a big objective this summer was for our guys to spend time together on the court and off the court.
Of course, this is Grove Collection Day, and we're doing this show here today. How do you feel in the competitive piece we are in that area here at Ole Miss?
I feel great. I told Walker and his staff and all the great people, including the contributors to the Grove, that I'm beyond impressed. Had a chance to be a part of 2 name, image, and likeness efforts at 2 other universities, and I just think the work that's been done here at Ole Miss is very impressive. Not only where we stand today, but I think there's a vision for where we go tomorrow and next week and next year. You know, we all know it's an ever-changing landscape, and nobody really has a rule book on this, but I think, to me, our philosophy at Ole Miss is it's all about the people. And we're not concerned with what we don't have. We're more concerned with what we do have. And in my opinion, what we do have is enough. It's enough to be competitive. It's enough to win championships. And so we feel great about it. And I'm so appreciative of everybody that's contributed to this point. I'm so appreciative to anybody that's considering contributing. You know, I believe in the Grove Collective, and you guys don't know me that well yet, but I don't say things like that unless I mean it. And,
right.
I believe with what Walker's doing, and you know, I'm very impressed, and I'm proud to be a part of it. You know, I'm a part of the Grove. I'm a small part, but I take it very seriously.
Well, you know, and Coach has been really helpful to me. As he said, he helped kind of build the other collectives at his other previous stops. And so he's given me a lot of great ideas and thoughts. You know, we didn't do a ton last year in basketball. So for me, you know, and our staff, learning the dynamics of basketball and NIL. You know, we have to kind of, there are some similarities across sports, but every sport has its own nuances and differences. And so having Coach and his staff who have been at other places, have seen what's worked and what hadn't worked, has been a great resource for us at the collective to not only, you know, evaluate what we're doing and make sure we're doing it right, new ideas, but also understand how basketball is a little different sometimes, and you have to treat things a little differently that you do maybe in football or some of the other sports. So Coach has been a huge resource for us on that, and we'll continue. And just so everybody knows, Coach, you know, a lot of what we offer is access to the program. You're big about your fireside chats and getting the student body involved and really harnessing the alumni base and the fans. And you know, one of the things we're going to announce today, we're auctioning off an opportunity for fans that upgrade, members of the Grove Club that upgrade their membership, enter to win an opportunity to have a behind-the-scenes tour of the Toohey Center and the Pavilion, and also get to come watch a closed practice of the men's and women's team. And until you've seen this guy coach on the floor, it's electric. And I want to tell our fans, number one, I want to thank you for that, allowing us to auction that off. But number two, you do not want to miss this guy coaching. But that's really how you've kind of, when you talk about culture, it's not just for your players, but it's for the fans as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's 4 or 5 key groups to be competitive nationally and to win championships. And one of those groups, and no group's more important, is our fan base. It starts with the student body, season ticket holders, donors, fans, people that live in Mississippi, people that live outside the state, Ole Miss alum, anybody that cares and has a passion for Ole Miss basketball. So it's an important group to us. We're not one-way relationship people. I feel like we've done a good job getting out in the community in our first 3 or 4 months here, and we plan on doing our part and having relationships. But it's something I enjoy. Selfishly, I know no other way to win unless you have a great fan base,
Yeah.
and I know no other way to put a fan base together unless there's real relationships involved. And so there's no group more important than our fans, and there's no group more important than the Grove Collective.
He was on the Rebel Road trip with us. We were in Meridian. You know, he's a great speaker, told some jokes, had a good time, and then just kind of slipped this in. He said, you need to get your season tickets this year because they're going to be real hard to get next year.
Well,
I was like, that was awesome.
100%. I was fortunate enough in my time at Under Armour when Coach was the head coach at Texas Tech, which was an Under Armour school, and watch what he did at Texas Tech and took their team to the final game, the culture, what he was like to work with back then. And when Keith and the Chancellor made the hire, I knew, you know, just from my previous experience, and I think our fans are going to see that to your point, it's not going to take long, but it's going to take all of us. And Coach says, you know, he's not going to cut any quarters, but he's here to win. And he's here to win now. And, you know, Coach, I just can't thank you enough for the access to your program, the guidance you've given us in this NIL world. And look, we got a great partnership here. Our coaches, I keep telling our fans, our head coaches, whether you like the system or not now, our coaches know how to use the system to be a great equalizer for us in the SEC and on the national landscape. And Coach is a perfect example of that.
Appreciate it, Walker.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We can't wait to watch your team, too. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully our fans will respond in a huge way and fill the pavilion up. I think atmosphere-wise, it's going to be incredible. You're going to enjoy that, and can't wait to see you walk out that first time for that first whistle and say, okay, we've done all this work. We get to play a game.
Yeah, I just hope you guys feel the same way when we're walking off the court after our first game. So we got a lot of work to do. The good news is we don't have to play this afternoon.
That's right.
No, we got great guys. I'm optimistic. We got good players, and they're getting along well, and we got a lot of work ahead. It's not going to be easy, but nothing great is. But really, my source of confidence comes from our players. I think we got a good first-year team here. Some guys that have a chance to compete.
No doubt.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I'm gonna let Coach go on this one. He told a story, and until you've seen a 7'5" human walk around town, it's really something amazing. We have one in Jamarian Sharp, who's transferring in. But your story about recruiting his pit bull was what literally like got us over the edge, right?
Yeah, basically, you know, every great player has an inner circle, whether it be a parent or a grandparent or a mentor or a coach. And one thing in recruiting is you try to identify who are those inner circle people, who are helping this young man make a decision, and you want to recruit them as well. So with Sharp, he's got a great family, brother and mother, and some great coaches. And but he had a special person in his family, and he mentioned it a few times and kept kind of plugging into the intel. But it was his dog. He's got a 1-year-old pit bull named Joker, and we talked about Joker a lot on the phone. And it wasn't until I got to meet Sharp face to face on his official visit that I really understood how important Joker was. So we basically gave Joker some access to Ole Miss basketball that other programs wouldn't give a pit bull puppy, completely within the NCAA rules, of course. But yeah, I think the fans, if you enjoy seeing Sharp play, which I'm sure you will, if you ever meet Joker, give him a high five or shake or whatever, because in my mind,
treat, yeah.
Joker played a big role of Sharp coming to Ole Miss.
Yeah,
So there's a
Joker,
juice
juice.
Joker. There's like a juice
Juice and Joker got to go one-on-one.
story we
I'll
can
put
do
my money
here
on
because-
Joker, Pitbull. He
Yeah,
may,
you
may
won't
be a
mess
tough
with that.
kid.
Yeah, I've spent some time with Juice. I'm a lab guy. I respect Juice. I like Juice. But you start talking about the Pit Bulls, that's a different neighborhood.
Well,
So,
it's a different neighborhood.
no disrespect to Juice, but I guess Joker's kind of our guy.
There you go.
Coach, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate you,
Hey,
Coach.
go. The Grove Collection Day is underway. You can go to thegrovecollective.com. Get to be a part of it quickly.
And upgrade your membership for a chance to get a behind-the-scenes action with Coach Beard and his staff. I promise you, it'll be an awesome experience. So go do that right now.
We're going to stay with basketball. Coming up next, we've got Coach Yo. Stay tuned. And welcome back, Grove Collection Day. We're visiting with Walker Jones, Executive Director of the Grove Collective, and we're excited to see how it's going so far. We're just rolling along and had a chance to visit one of our head coaches now and talked to Keith Carter earlier and Robin Tannehill, the mayor. We got a special guest coming up, but you got an announcement. What's your announcement?
Yeah,
here?
so we're off to a great start. I mean, again, we're less than an hour into this thing. We just went over $300,000
Wow.
for individual gifts right now. And something really cool, too, we've had 59 new members sign up today, which is great as we continue to drive our membership. But this is really important to me being a former player, too. We just had former All-SEC wide receiver Dante Moncrief just joined the
Neat.
collective.
I was going to ask you about former players. Are more of them participating? Or?
Yeah, you know, look, former players are interesting givers. You know, they're very mercurial. And, you know, it's not just Ole Miss. You know, every school, Coach, you know that. Every school out there, former players, you know, sometimes they'll give, sometimes, you know, they won't. And you know, they're an interesting group. And especially, too, most of these guys didn't have NIL when they were in school. So there's a little bit of the, you know, I played so long ago it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But if you were a guy that played like 5 years ago, you're kind of like, man, I was 5 years
missed
too
the
late.
boat,
I know.
yeah.
So they're a little bit hit or miss. But like Dante Moncrief is a great one, and hopefully some of the other former athletes will see that. And I was talking to Murphy Holloway, you know, who's on the men's staff. Murphy's like, I'm joining on Monday. So you know, we're slowly starting to get those former athletes in. But we're off to a great start.
Well, that's awesome. That's really neat. And hey, we are privileged now to have Coach O with us, women's head basketball coach, and man, had a tremendous run last year, and the progression has been fun to watch. And now you got to start all over. Here we
That's
go
right.
again.
Next.
And she did not take us with her overseas. So they just came back off a great trip. Let's start there. Talk about the trip.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Italy for 9 days, and so we visited Rome, Florence, Naples, and the Amalfi Coast, and
Oh, wow.
Capri, and had a blast. Played 3 games, had a chance to get out there and play with different rotations and whatnot, and it was an awesome time. Seriously, it was a great time for our team to bond. We have 8 new players, a lot of expectations. You know, we got that taste of that Sweet 16, so now it's about what's next, and what's next for us is we just want to continue to, you know, advance and hopefully be a perennial team where fans expect us to go to the Sweet 16 and beyond every single year.
You know, with this new landscape we're dealing with, we're going to get you into that here in a moment, though. It's nice to have those foreign trips.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of bond. Are you still limited on how often you can do that?
Yeah, well, it's every 4 years, but we do get to sneak over to the Bahamas. So I don't know why, but we've gone back to back. And
Yeah.
so, no, it's biased.
Yeah, I want to go.
So I'm
She needs
personally
to take us to
inviting
her
you all
house.
to the
Yeah,
Bahamas
I mean, goodness gracious.
in November
Yeah.
for us
Yeah.
to play. So we get to do little stuff like that. But as far as a foreign tour, every 4 years.
International is important to you, isn't
Yes,
it?
for
Obviously.
sure. Yeah.
Because you Bahamas connection
uh-huh.
and coming to America and
Yeah.
getting the great opportunities and taking advantage of them, et cetera, et cetera. But you know, it used to be you just kind of recruited in your state and
Right.
maybe in the surrounding areas, and now it's worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find a way to get a competitive advantage anywhere that you can. And for us, you know, when we look at the Southeastern Conference and, you know, the rhythm that it has, I don't know that we'll be able to always get the best player. That's just not that's not how our program's built. When I say best player, like highest ranked player. We get the best player for us, and that looks a lot of different ways. That's going to be international. Sometimes it's going to be a 3.5-star kid. Sometimes instead of a McDonald's All-American, we call it the Handy Andy All-American. It may be one of those, you know.
Yeah,
So we try to diversify our group. Because we want to be athletic, and that's what the Southeastern Conference is. But from my experiences, I also want to be skilled. And so the European players bring that off the bat.
It's an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's too early. But how do you feel about this team? Do you feel like you can reach those goals again or higher?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Should I give coach speak or should I get? I love
A lot of work to do,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. I love my team. I
Okay.
love my team. We're very talented. We did a great job filling in gaps That's something that we pride ourselves in. You know, everybody thought it was over after we lost Kira, and we got better. And so, from a talent perspective, this is my most talented team. But we hadn't played a game, we hadn't scored a point, so we have a lot of work to do.
You know, we talk, and you and I've talked about it a good amount too. And you know, one of the advantages of NIL is the ability to rebuild your roster and to plug holes, like you said.
Yep.
And you know, Coach, you know, it's also a benefit, but it's also a challenge, as DK said, to get to know those players and to create that culture and that camaraderie that you're always looking for when you're building your program. But you know, you were able to go out this year, and like DK said, kind of 2 international players. Transfers from kind of all over the country, and really, plug holes, and then find the, compliment for what you had coming back, because you still had a good nucleus coming back. But just talk to our fans a little bit about, with the best collective in the country.
Absolutely.
But with the NIL, like, how do you and the staff kind of go through that process of again, plugging those holes with retaining your roster, recruiting new people there, and then the freshmen that come in really are your three buckets?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I love about how we go about things is we believe in retention. So the Grove Collective does such a great job, Walker. You guys do such a great job, and our fans and everybody that supports it, with making sure that the players that we have feel supported, feel loved,
that have been here,
has opportunities. For us, that is number one. And so we've been able to retain our top players. In large part, I know they love Ole Miss, but also they feel a tremendous amount of support from the Grove Collective. And then what the Grove Collective allows us to do is to also, be competitive in spaces that maybe we wouldn't have been competitive before. I think the student athlete, the true student athlete on the women's side, still says, I'm going to go to this school because I love the coach, I love the environment, I love the opportunity. What the Grove Collective does is it provides a space where now they have education. They're given the tools to be successful. It's not a pay for play. We don't do things that way. It's legal. They get to be in the community. They get to work and utilize their name, image, and likeness. And on a positive side, that they get compensated for it, and they love that. So it's almost like, for us, it's the icing on the cake. I don't know that our program will ever be one that we want to just throw anything at a player, other than, if you come here, you come in here because you believe in me, you believe in yourself, and the vision that we have for the program.
Yeah, because it's more about just the money. You get out in the community as good as any coach we've ever had. And we had Robin here earlier, Robin Tannehill. I know she loves it when she sees you guys on Twitter. You're at this school and you're doing this and all, but that's an important part. That doesn't need to go away.
No. Our program does community service every single month. Every single month we do community service, and one of the things that I'm proud of is because of the Grove Collective and Madison Scott was able to have her own camp this summer.
That's awesome.
And they're learning from what we've been able to do, so it's kind of like it's a culture. And even I went a step further, and now I have my foundation doing stuff in the community, partnering with Robin. We're going to have some free clinics. So it is a culture of giving back. It's a culture of pouring into our communities. And women's basketball, we are grateful for the support. There's no question.
Yeah, it's something that, and we're very proud of, and Coach and I have talked about it a good amount, is, our women's basketball team was the first team on campus where every player had an NIL deal.
Yeah.
And not just one, but multiple.
Two, yeah.
And so, I get that question all the time, like, well, do you give everybody a deal? And I'm like, no, that's not really what NIL is created. But if there's value and a need there, we will. Yeah. And that's to what Coach, the culture she's created, and you talked about being out in the community and all that. The fact that our people recognize that, and they were the first program that reached that milestone, says one thing about what she's built and the type of young women that she has recruited to come here. But also, too, I was lucky enough to meet with the whole women's basketball team before they went to Italy, and the questions they asked, and the attentiveness to, hey, what else can I do?
Yeah.
What other resources do you guys have? I want to talk to somebody about a budget or my taxes or
Right,
opening up an
right.
IRA or an LLC.
Yeah.
And like, I walked out of there going, I wish I could have bottled that up and played it
Yeah.
for all our fans.
Yeah.
Because when they go, well, I don't really know if I want to give to NIL. If you were in that room that day and listened to her team and how appreciative they were and grateful, it's a no-brainer. So again, that's a tribute to you, Coach, and what you've helped create there, and just the way that they feel about the compensation, but also too, Coach, the ability for them to not just focus on the money,
Right.
but to focus on all the other factors, the no ceilings,
Yeah.
everything that you're doing, the schedule, playing on a national scale. Like, I think there's no, there's no mystery on why we're successful on the court. NIL is a very small part of that, but I think it speaks to your culture that you created.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to say, a lot of people, when they hear NIL, they think men's sports. One of the things I appreciate with you all is that's not the case. Like, it's anybody that has, name, image, and likeness that is worth, I guess, being marketed and invested in that kind of stuff. Or sometimes I think what's cool is you all even present opportunities for us. That's what the Grove does. Coach, do you have a kid that will fit in this arena, will do well with this business, or can you connect us with someone that knows? That's what the Grove Collective does. And women's sports is on the up and up. We need the support. Just like football and men's basketball, I want to win a national championship here. Just like Lane wants to win a national championship. Just like Chris wants to win a championship. Every coach wants to win a championship, and I've been saying it when we were 0-16. So I'm gonna tell you right now, after going to a Sweet 16, no one wants to win a national championship more than Coach Yo. And I know that's being biased, but every cent counts, every support. We've had businesses reach out and say, Coach, we want your team. We want to support your team just this summer. And that is what winning does. So we understand that we have to perform on the court. But one of the things that I do appreciate for the student athlete is that just takes an incredible amount of stress that they may have off the court, and it is starting to prepare them for the real world. Like Walker said, them getting LLCs and foundations. Like my student athletes are serious about whatever they get, being able to invest it and hopefully create some type of generational wealth.
Well, and that's where, again, I think that's where she's done such a great job with that. And
Portal Queen too. Portal Queen.
Well, yeah, she is. She is.
I don't know where we came up with
but
that.
I get asked this question a lot just on the nationals and the landscape. Who are the best endorsers and the best influencers?
Yeah.
It's our female athletes.
Yeah, it's no
Our
question.
female athletes are very brand conscious.
yeah.
They take it
We get it,
seriously.
yeah.
They get it, and that's why you have we when Mayor Tanner was up here and we launched the Grove Collective Business Coalition that we launched today. My guess is we're going to have a lot of requests for our women's basketball athletes
Oh, no
because they
doubt.
do such. Every time we have an event, they're the
Yeah.
first ones there. They're polite. They're networking. They get it. So they're
I'm
our best.
available for NIL too. Just if anybody.
Well, you just signed your new contract, Coach. You got your new
Right,
contract.
got your
They
NIL.
gave me my NIL.
You got your
You
NIL.
got your NIL.
Us radio folks falling further behind now.
Hey, Coach, talking about our fans and just kind of as we close up here, one of the things we're auctioning off today for our members that upgrade, that they enter to win a chance to come have a kind of a behind-the-scenes day where they'll tour the pavilion, tour the TUI Center, and get to watch you coach and get to watch a practice. So number one, we appreciate you doing that. But just talk a little bit in closing here just about the fans and what you want them to know and the access that they can have and being a part of what you have built here.
Yeah, I mean, you all are so important to us. We want to be Oxford's team, in the women's basketball sector. We are the flagship And we run the SIP right now. We're gonna run with that. You know, we beat Mississippi State twice this past season, and until they beat us, we're gonna hold that crown.
There we go. There we go.
But one of the things that I appreciate is the amount of support and love that we get from the fan base. And I know what it feels like to be a giver. You know, I give a lot to several entities, and I just believe that people give when they know the reason behind it, the why behind it.
Yeah.
They know that people are appreciative, and I can just tell you, anything that our student athletes get from the Growth Collective or don't get, and you're thinking about doing it, invest in us. Our players are appreciative for it. They value it. They understand, and most importantly, they give back. And we could not do it without you. I tell Walker all the time, if we're going to win a championship, it's going to take administration, it's going to take my team and their commitment, but it's also going to take the community, and that's where you all come in. Coming to games and supporting the Growth Collective.
No doubt, support the Grove Collective, but you've been challenging them on the Rebel Road Trip everywhere. We want
Butts
fannies
in
the
the
seats.
seats.
She said it, not me.
You know what I need?
Yeah, we
I
have
need those
two-
shoes.
Yeah.
I need
Those shoes are awesome.
Okay.
We have two big games. I have to get a free plug in.
Put it
We-
on 'em.
we-
Put it
we-
on 'em.
Well, I'll talk about the first one. Our home opener, November 8th, is going to be against Oklahoma.
Right.
Nighttime
Future
game.
SEC team.
Future
Future
team.
SEC team.
We're playing them early.
Hopefully, both of us are ranked. It's going to be a big game. And I just have a dream that we're going to sell at least a lower bowl out.
Let's do it.
Whatever I have to do, we need you all in the stands.
Let's do that. That's a great
Awesome.
plug, Coach.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank
we
y'all.
appreciate you coming by. We know you're busy
Absolutely.
and all, but you know,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you and Lane both. When this first came up, these are the current rules we're under.
Yeah.
You both just attacked it
Yeah.
immediately. That's
well,
the way to
I
play
don't
the game.
support anything I don't believe in, and
Yeah.
I believe in Walker's leadership and the Growth Collective. I've seen it work. I've seen the programs they've done for our players, and so I think that it's something worth getting behind.
Coach Yo,
Thank you.
get online. We want some more donations. We got Coach Bianco coming up here in just a moment as well. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Grove Collection Day. Again, I'm David Kellum, voice of the Rebels. Glad to be with you here on this day. We've had a lot of fun. Boy, the time is flying. A lot of you participating. We really appreciate that. We have Executive Director of the Grove Collective here, also Walker Jones. And man, we've had fun so far, huh?
We have. It's been good. And, you know, the collections are coming in, so that's good. So just an update, DK. We just had another 6-figure commitment from an anonymous donor, which is great.
Awesome.
And then we have added 115 new members in the last hour.
Wow.
And again, the reason why the members are so important is that gives us reoccurring revenue. And really, in a cash flow business, you need to be able to project out cash flow. And, you know, major gifts are great. Major gifts are wonderful, but, you know, they come in at different times. And having this membership, if we can get it to 7,000 members, it really gives us every month, every year, we know this is what's going to come in. Because really, those are your ride or die fans. They're going to stick with you through good times and bad times. And if we get to that point where we've got, you know, close to 7,000 members giving us, you know, $50, $75 a month, then it gives us the ability to really project out how to use our money even more wisely than we currently are, which I think we're doing a great job. But that's why, you know, every one of these members that signs up gives us the ability to run a more efficient business.
Yeah,
So,
the temptation would be to shy away because I can't give what somebody else can give, but those all add up, right?
well, and we've said it forever, you know, Ole Miss's fan base is maybe smaller compared to some of our competition, but very mighty. And, you know, and so literally every dollar amounts. We say, well, I can only give you $100. I might give it because it all matters. And we're making that every $1 that comes in, we're making it spend like 3. We're being really efficient with our money. And that's what we have to do at Ole Miss. And I've said that from day one, you know, to be that creative and progressive and do the little things that maybe some other schools don't have to do. But that's been the case at Ole Miss forever, is we got to punch above our weight. And as a great tease for our next guest, we saw that 2 years ago out in Omaha.
Yeah.
And that was really my aha moment when Keith and Chance were talking to me about taking this on. I was sitting there with my dad and my 2 boys at our game against Oklahoma, and just saw that crowd and the response, and you know, I still get goosebumps talking about it. But when I was sitting there thinking, can we really do this and be successful? Like I want us to be successful. And that moment, I looked around that stadium and we go, yes, we can.
No doubt.
So no
We
better
Coach
intro.
Mike Bianco, our head baseball coach. Hey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks to come join us and all.
Absolutely.
I know that it's sort of off season, but you guys are always doing something. I got a chance to talk to Coach Clement here last night about, you know, the upcoming team and all that. It just kind of moves over. But
There is
again,
an off season?
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't know that.
Sort
I've been
of
here for
off-season.
24
Yeah,
years now.
Yeah. But
I need to figure that out.
let's start with, you know, you lost a lot of players off the national championship team. Had to kind of scramble, get that figured out. Had some key returns, but also some young pitchers, and fought through a tough year last year. And then now you've had to reload again. And so all of a sudden, this coach who's been doing this a long time has this thing called portal and NIL. How have you, as a veteran coach, kind of, you know, made the dive into the pool and started being successful there?
Well, you know, I think the best advice that probably we've ever gotten was from our commissioner, Greg Sankey, and he addressed our entire athletic department at Ole Miss, and I'm sure he shared it, I'm assuming, with the other 13 you know, members of the Southeastern Conference, where, hey, this transfer portal and name, image, and likeness, it's not going away, you know, and we don't have the luxury sometimes as coaches, not just, you know, in today's day with the portal and NIL, to be the fan and say, hey, I don't like that. You know, we may not like it, but this is the world that we live in, you know, in intercollegiate athletics that we are. You may not like texting, but you better be able to text, you know, recruits, and you better be able to do your business. And just like any other business, right? You can maybe not always agree with some of the technology and some of those things, but you better make wise choices of how you're going forward and how it's going to affect your business. And I don't think in athletics we're any different. So, you know, we've had to figure this out, but all of us have, not just at Ole Miss, but every athletic department. And I've shared this with Walker and and a lot of people, you know, that, you know, I think are part of the Grove Collective or thinking about becoming part of the Grove Collective. Is we chose to be in the Southeastern Conference, right? We're a member, right? As you're asking for memberships today, we chose to be a member, and most of our fans love being in part of the Southeastern Conference. Well, we're in this neighborhood, you know, and you can sit there and have an opinion of the portal, And I get it, and I understand a lot of the angst and a lot of the free agency and a lot of the analogies that people have made. But at the end of the day, this is the world of intercollegiate athletics that we live in, and our job as coaches, right, is to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward, that we're being wise, that we're being frugal, with scholarship dollars, how we recruit, but then also to realize that we can't just be standoffish and say, hey, this is not going to work for us. I mean, I don't think a program in the Southeastern Conference in any of the sports can look at it and say, hey, the transfer portal's not for me. The transfer portal's for everyone.
Have you changed your recruiting model, though, from a standpoint? I mean, you've recruited some fantastic players.
Sure.
They're all in the minors or pros, and, we've seen the draft just go out the roof, but the quality of player, the type of player to come to Ole Miss to be successful, portal and NIL hasn't changed your direction any at all?
Well, I think it has, but I think we're always going to recruit the high school player, the junior college player. I think that's, I think we would make that a mistake if we didn't think that was, the lifeblood of our program. Right. How we kind of view the portal is in baseball, because there's so much fluctuation in our roster. When you talk about, we have a great recruiting class that just started school today, right? They signed with Ole Miss and they're showing up. Some of those kids have been committed for years. Some of those kids have just been committed in the last month or two. But as it turns out, we always look at that to be the lifeblood of the program. But like, we lost 3 of those kids in that class to the Major League Draft. No other sport deals with that.
Right.
Like, we had 3 of our better recruits turned pro this summer and decided not to go to college. And then when you look at the existing roster of guys returning, and I realize that basketball deals with it and football deals with it and women's basketball with the WNBA, but we deal with it on a much more consistent basis, that juniors are leaving your program, like Kemp Alderman and Jacob Gonzalez, Calvin Harris, and Jack Doherty. Those are just 4 juniors this year. And for the better players in your program that aren't going to use up their eligibility, they're going to turn pro before they finish here. And so what the portal allows us to do is try to plug those holes and plug them more consistently with somebody that may have already played at this level, right? Either played, college baseball Division I, but maybe even at a Power 5, and somebody that's, again, looking for, a new stage to do it on. And that's what the way we've looked at the portal is not how we're just going to recruit that way, but how we're going to be able to look at our current roster, where it sits, and where are our needs, and try to fill those holes.
Coach, we talk a lot about how baseball is different. When you talk about the amount of scholarships you have access to, the MLB draft, both you got to deal with it in high school and you got to deal with it in that junior year, and how NIL can be a great equalizer and a great resource when you have those scholarship limitations. And you made a great analogy a couple of days ago about Tim Elko, and like what people don't understand, and again how NIL, it's valuable for all our coaches, but really in baseball is so unique.
Yes.
And I think our people need to understand a little bit about, when you're recruiting a kid, you're sitting down and you have to tell them, hey, this is what it's going to ultimately cost you.
Right.
And you may want to be one of the best players in the country,
Right.
but this is what you're going to have to pay to come play for us.
Right.
Where in football, it's here's your scholarship and we got everything taken care of. But I thought the Elko example is phenomenal, if you don't mind sharing that, and just
Sure.
that dynamic a little bit.
Well, I think most people, not everybody, but most people, especially if you follow college baseball, realize we have 11.7 scholarships. So that's like 11 full scholarships and 70% of another scholarship. So just short of 12 scholarships. Well, football has 85, right? And again, you can sit there and argue, but this is the neighborhood we live in, right? And we're no different. We're the same scholarship as LSU, Mississippi State, Alabama, UCLA, and so on. So all the scholarships are divided up. Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out if you got 35 or so people on your team, the average scholarship on your team is about a third. Well, it costs over $45,000 for an out-of-state kid. So if you recruit a kid like Tim Elko from Tampa, Florida, the average scholarship's about 33%. So Tim was just a tick above that, in his years here. Well, you can put pen to paper, pull out a calculator, and start figuring out if it's $46,000, $45,000 to go there, and he gets a third of a scholarship, then his parents are paying
pretty
close
good
to
bit of money.
$30,000 a year for him to be a star, for him to get a statue built here. And so his parents have built a statue. His parents are saying, "Hey, man, we've paid for that statue over.
Are y'all paying for that or us?"
Several times over. And so when you look at it, most of our players pay more than they get in scholarship dollars. Almost all. Most of the kids that we have on our team, their parents are paying more than Ole Miss is giving them. And so, with name, image, and likeness, from the Grove Collective and other things that help these kids, what a resource. Because, again, parents are making tough decisions. Am I going to get a student loan? How are we going to do this? And, I tongue-in-cheeked it with Walker and some people from the collective this weekend. And when Coach Beard, Coach Kiffin, Coach Yo, they sit down with a student athlete, they offer them, right, their scholarship. That's the same. It's a full scholarship. It's the same scholarship here as it is at Texas or anywhere else. Ours is a partial scholarship. And so now it's the presentation. What does that look like? What can the family afford? How does it work? It's different for us. And again, this is not crying. It's different. But this has become an equalizer now because, again, I think most of our kids aren't looking to come here to get rich. They're coming here to get an education and get a college experience the way it always was supposed to be. And a lot of these, NIL deals have allowed them to be able to pay for their education and not allow and put that burden on their parents.
I asked Walker this. I can ask you this. You're at LSU. Do you think you'd have been on a high NIL or probably not?
No. I think when Coach Bourbon signed me, he was trying to figure out how to lower that scholarship. How can we get Bianco to be a walk-on?
We're going to give Bianco a book. He gets one book.
I'm going to go look at his stats. I'm going to go pull them up and say, man, based off what we're paying that guy now, what I pay might be.
Let me ask you about a football player that wants to play baseball.
Sure.
That does both. Obviously, you can't give them a scholarship. That's a rule on the baseball side. But you can use them, or even recruit together and get that kid in here. How does that NIL play out, sometimes with the
Well, we actually have one
players?
this year. So we actually have the first one we've done at the Grove Collective, the first multi-sport athlete in Austin Simmons from Florida, the young man who's 17 years old and reclassified to come here. He's quarterback on our football team, and he's a left-handed pitcher for Coach B. And so it was a great thing. Like Carl Lafferty said, Lane Kiffin just made my Christmas card list because that was one guy they didn't have to worry
Lefty
about.
90 something.
Yeah,
right?
and they didn't have to worry about that guy in their math equation and all that. And so that was our first one that we were able to do. Have a dual sport athlete that can get NIL in both places. So it was a little bit of a learning experience, but also a great story too.
Well, that's good. You can still take advantage of those.
Well, no doubt. And of course, what a neat thing and how rare it is for somebody to not just play multiple sports, but to do it at this level, right? And not just to even do it in college, but to do it at Division I, to do it in the Southeastern Conference. And we've been fortunate. We've had a few over the years, but it's cool. And yes, by NCAA regulations, football, because they're the bigger sport, they always take the scholarship, right? It's not a choice. It's you don't split it up, So if you're, John Rice Plumlee or Jerry Neely, or you're one of those players, and you're on football scholarship, you're basically considered a walk-on in baseball, right? Because you can't give them two scholarships or even divide it amongst the sports. But that's a neat thing that with the NIL that they can divide it that way, which is probably the best way to do it because you don't know which one that name, image, and likeness, the value of that.
Right.
At that time, what is going to bring more value? We certainly hope that it brings it in both, but especially on the baseball side of things.
No doubt. You think I've watched him in football. That's 17 years old, and you got to go, wow, he didn't look 17.
He doesn't look 17.
He's got,
He
throws the ball really nice.
He's going to be. When Lane called me and
Impressive.
said, I want a fourth quarterback after I threw up in the trash can, he was like, no, this guy's really, really good. I was like, well, hold on, let me call baseball. So I was like, yeah, he's really, really good. I was like, all right, we'll figure it out.
Do you guys want him? Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Everybody wanted him.
Everybody wanted him. Yeah, it was great. Our friends down in Gainesville weren't real happy with us. Coach, one of the things we talk about, and I get asked this by our fans a lot too, and media, the locker room dynamic, and in a team sport like baseball, where they're spending so much time together. You know, do you do anything different? You know, and we challenge a lot of people. One of the reasons why we want them to join the collective was it gives them a chance to put a name with a face, because we offer up these events where they get to meet the players and that kind of thing, because our fans love to know who these people are and who these players are. But from a coaching standpoint, I heard Carl Lafferty said this weekend that his job's changed more the last 15 months than it has the last 15 years, which is really an incredible statement. But you have to adapt and move on. For you guys building your camaraderie here in the off season and, you know, trying to manage the clubhouse, so to speak, you know, tell us, it's such a benefit to have NIL in the portal, but also the challenge of trying to integrate all those pieces.
Well, the first thing, and you know this obviously, but I don't know if the fans know it, they sign a non-disclosure form, and so part of their contract with you is they're not going to go out there, and it's not going to be in the newspaper that this player gets X amount of dollars and so on. And, you know, we don't even know, right? And so, you know, at the end of the day, but I think our guys are used to it. So one part of that question is, this guy in our baseball program was a walk-on, and he's a superstar, you know, in the College World Series. This guy's on 25%. This guy's on 50%, right? We always look at that as just more of a means to get them here, you know, not necessarily their value. You know, now you are going on value. We're going on the means to get them here. And the other part is it's not really given by us, or not given by us at all. Right, they're generating themselves, and so if you don't really like that, it's really, you know, that's your fault. You know, be a better player, be more famous. But the truth of the matter is, you know, I think it's just like anything. You have to trust your culture, and we feel really good, you know, that we've built a culture in our program where it's not about scholarship dollars, it's not about NIL deal, you know, it's about us winning a championship. You know, just like you ask a player that, hey, this guy's getting more innings on the mound than you, or this guy's getting more at bats than you. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you're asking them to buy into their role at that particular time. And I think, you know, to this point, because remember, NIL was here last year as well. So this isn't the first year.
Right.
This isn't, you know, it's new, but it's not that new. And we're conscious of it. We are. And but I am less worried about culture, chemistry of that team. We have our antennas up, but as coaches, I think we always worry about that. I'm worried about more of the nuances of tax implications, extending yourself too much, right? Because it's not just a Grove Collective thing, NIL. It's a lot of things. Don't tell somebody that you can do something and don't do it. You know, like these are lessons that, and people go, "Are you not?" But these are lessons that they have to learn. You know, especially a lot of them aspire to be professional athletes. This is coming quickly for them. This is almost like a training ground for when a guy becomes an NFL player or NBA player or WNBA or a Major League Baseball player. You know, there's, you know, when you're getting something, you're going to have to pay taxes on it, and people are going to ask you to do something in return, right? You know, they're not just giving you something for nothing.
That's right.
Different guest speakers need to come talk to your team, right? At this point. You know, I think about winning the national championship, and then Corey won one before in women's golf, and all of a sudden Ole Miss has won 2 national championships relatively close together, and it just kind of changed the dynamics around here. It's almost like, you know, I don't know if we can ever get it done at Ole Miss. That kind of mindset has changed, obviously. And now our expectations are for all our sports to knock at that door and try to bust through and win a championship. And I don't know if you personally sense that, because I know you're friends with all the other coaches, but it's really cool to have those in our hip pocket and try to get some more.
Well, I think in our profession, we always feel that way, right? You know, I mean, this is what you do. This is your passion. You know, John Gordon spoke to the athletic department today, and he was talking about your mission and your why. I think, you know, it's hard to coach and survive in this league if your ultimate goal is not to win a national championship. But I understand, and to be honest with you, and it may hurt some people's feelings, that I've sensed that and felt that. I've been here for a long time, so I think it's fair for me to be able to say that. That I don't know if people, not all, but some people have always felt that either Ole Miss baseball was capable or Ole Miss in general. And so that's great, but that was one of the coolest things about winning the national championship. We have a great fan base. As you know, we sell almost 9,000 season tickets, and it's a unique environment. But it's 9,000, right? There's 66,000 in a football stadium. How you get 20,000 to go to Omaha? I mean, that's
That was
over twice
unbelievable.
our season ticket.
That was 3
people.
Swayzes.
Yeah, and so it touched a lot of different people, not just your regular baseball fan, but your casual baseball fan, and some people that maybe never have been to Swayze, but
Exactly.
they've been to Omaha.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things that I wasn't prepared for. You know, I've always, you know, had that vision that we would win a national championship. Truth be known, I didn't think it was going to take 22 years, but I've always had, you know, that goal and that aspiration and feeling that we would win it. And I think some of our fans felt that way too. But I wasn't ready for how much it would go beyond that. You know how much it would those tentacles would reach out to the Ole Miss fan base. And to me, that's one of the coolest things is how many people it touched. It wasn't just the people out in left field that barbecue all the time, or the people in right field, you know, our students, or the people sitting in the blue seats behind home plate, but it touched a lot of different people, and that's one of the neat things about winning a championship.
No doubt.
Yeah,
No
and
doubt.
I'll just say for our people, you know, obviously Coach has been here a long time, but you know, in this whole world of we're all figuring this stuff out, tremendous partner to us at the collective, his staff. You know, the system, say what you want about the system, it is the system, and we figured it out. And we have coaches like Coach B and his staff that have figured out how to be really effective with it this year. I think they're going to like what they see this spring, which is some of that is a direct result of using the system to our advantage and being a great equalizer for us. So, Coach, thank you so much for what you do for us to help us raise money and embrace this world that we're all figuring out. And just, you know, our people need to understand that, you know, there's a process in place here that is very effective, very efficient, very compliant, and is a direct correlation to how successful we can be in the future. And Coach is a great example of that.
No doubt.
So.
Well, thanks, of course, David, for all that you do. But you're right, this Walker. One, you're welcome, but two, thank you. You know, because I don't think we can survive. You know, and that's just the truth. I don't think we can survive without the collective. We can't survive without jumping into this, you know, and being aggressive and doing everything that we can, you know, to put the best product on the field day in and day out. And the truth is, when you look at this class and how we rebuilt last year's team to this year's, you know, team. There's no way, and what a perfect timing it is for us,
Right,
you know,
right.
to be able to do that because of where we are just in, you know, from team and year to year. So thank you for what you do, and thanks to all the fans that are giving today and continue to give. It's making a difference.
Hey, Tim Elko's in Birmingham, just got moved. I saw him at Winston-Salem, had a chance to visit with him after a game. So he's made 3 quick moves. He's on the fast track. So if you live in the North Mississippi area and watching us, or you're close to him, go catch old Tim over there.
Man, has he had a great year.
Unbelievable.
We're really proud
30
of him.
home runs. Wooden bat wasn't a problem for him. Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks,
We
guys.
appreciate it. We're going to
Appreciate
continue
it.
here shortly. We've got Coach Traxel coming up from softball. Lane Kiffin will be with us a little bit later, too. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Grove Collection Day. We really appreciate everybody taking part in this, and it's been fun to have our head coaches over. We got another guest we're going to introduce to you here in just a moment. David Cohen with Walker Jones, our executive director of the Grove Collection. And hey, I know you get these people bringing you notes. Apparently, they're monitoring how this is going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It almost feels like the old telethon, Jerry Lewis and Matthew McConaughey just handed me a $50,000 donation. And,
we could lie and say,
George Burns
if you call the bank, you might get Eli Manning.
Yeah, exactly.
Eli's not here, but
Actually,
you could.
We should do that. We shoot him a text, get Eli to do something. No, well, look, it's going great. We are almost, over an hour and a half in, and we've gone over $400,000
wow.
today on giving.
Awesome.
And we've also added another 150 members, which again, we know how important the membership is. And something too, I want to tell everybody, we're going to be announcing stuff all week. Today is a big focus, but it's a week-long call to action for giving. So we're going to be announcing, we got some really cool partnerships coming up. We have a beer partnership for all the beer sold in the stadium on game day. The Grove Collective will be getting a percentage of that. We know how our fans like to partake, at games. We also have a Grove Collective vodka that's coming out for tailgating.
Radio crew is not allowed to participate.
The radio crew probably doesn't need to do it.
Not during the game.
And so that'll be something that we're doing around the Grove and tailgating, a big tailgating initiative. And every bottle sold of that will go back to the Grove Collective as well. So again, those are things you never thought you'd ever be doing.
But
Those are two of them. But again, we're trying to be creative and progressive. And then the last thing before we get to Coach, really want to challenge everybody, if you're a current member, to refer new members, which you can do on the website. Have whoever you refer, when they sign up on the referral section, they just need to put your name in there. And so at the end of the week, the member that has referred the most new members gets to do the Walk of Champions with Lane Kiffin for the Georgia Tech game.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool.
That'll be cool.
So, again, get all your family to sign up. Tell them to put your name in the comment section when they sign up as a new member, and you will be selected to do the Walk of Champions. So that's another cool promotion.
Neat. That's really, really good. Hey, we're honored to have now Jamie Traxler, our head softball coach. Hi.
Hi.
How's
you
it
guys
going?
Doing great.
Doing
Thanks
great.
for having me.
Wonderful year last year. You really lifted the program. It's been fun to kind of see the progression, and all of a sudden you wake up and they're tearing up the field and building you a brand new field.
Yeah.
I know you got to be excited about that.
Pretty exciting time, and not many coaches in their entire career ever get to be part of just something like that, let alone be part of it, experience it, kind of have input into it that isn't just for the now, it's for the present and the future. It's going to be a difference maker for Ole Miss softball, and just grateful to have an administration that continues to invest in our sport and to our young women.
You've got a core group that come, which is really cool. Mary and I have been a good bit through the years to softball and didn't conflict with my other world over in the baseball field. And unfortunately, they do kind of, conflict to some degree, but there are plenty of opportunities to see either team during that stretch, which is great. But it's going to, I think with the new facility and all, that core should grow pretty dramatically, especially with the success you guys have had.
Yeah, because it's still about experience. I think there's a couple different elements when people go out to a sporting event. Could be a personal connection, the product on the field, the overall experience, getting out and supporting just Ole Miss athletics, whether you're a softball fan or not, and the availability. So I think the stadium itself will give that atmosphere, the environment. It can hit a couple different groups where they can come out and say it's something that's enjoyable and they want to come back and continue to support.
You've been recruiting a long time, and I asked some of the other coaches this, and it's been a different game. Now you've got this portal / NIL game, but seemingly you and the staff have attacked it very well.
Yeah, it's just another recruiting tool. You have to be adaptable, and, we kind of had a message this morning from John Gordon. It's, what kind of changes do you attack, and, what are you kind of like, a little bit gun shy about. So, you just have to be willing to adapt, and everything's for the better. And so, but the transfer portal is just another recruiting opportunity. It fills immediate needs, and it gives you sometimes a base to be able to look at transferable skills where you've seen them at another level, not just a high school player kind of projecting out that skill set and what that looks like. So, and gives you some experience too. So, kind of a two-headed monster, and maybe even three when you look at junior colleges as well. But recruiting is your lifeline, no doubt, and there's different avenues that we get to pursue right now and bring players in and student athletes in that fill immediate need.
You know, you mentioned John Gordon this morning. Keith had the athletic department together, and he spoke to us this morning early, and I wish I had half his energy.
It was awesome.
Wasn't it
It
great?
was awesome.
He
Yeah.
was unbelievable, for sure, and a lot of things you can pull. I know that, you know, different coaches have used some of his materials through through the years. Walker, what is the relationship with the Grove Collective and Ole Miss softball?
Yeah, and we want to grow it, you know, and you talked about the core people that support softball, and I want them to understand that you can make specific gifts to specific athletes in sports.
Okay.
And that's the one question we get a lot, like, well, I just want to support this team or this player because they're from my hometown or whatever. And I want to tell, as we have kind of with all our sports, is look, if that's what you really enjoy doing, you can give directly to that. So coach and her staff can have that. We have an account for all our sports on campus. We've already signed several young ladies on the team, and we want to grow that. I mean, I told Keith Carter, you know, when we started this thing, that I want to support all our student athletes as much as we can. And we sit here today, we have at least one athlete from every team on campus, but that's not enough. I think we need to do more, and I want our people to understand that. And Coach, you know, building a new softball stand, you know, one of the misnomers out there sometimes is, oh, facilities don't matter anymore because of NIL. And I don't think that's true.
It's not.
It's not true.
It is not.
Yeah, NIL is important.
Yeah.
NIL is definitely important,
Yeah.
but facilities still matter.
Yeah.
And culture and winning and resources
Yeah.
and coaching staff, all those things. And you know, we've tried to be competitive to pay and offer NIL. But at the end of the day, you still need those other factors like a
Yeah.
beautiful stadium and a
Yeah.
facility to recruit the best talent.
Right. Yeah, it's you know, like for us, it's kind of like we don't want to sacrifice success in one area of your life for success in another, and there are, you know, components that are, you know, part of that play a big factor in running an elite program, and that's just one piece of it. And but the stadium, it matters, you know, for attracting recruits, for player relations, player development. Like, what does that look like? The overall fan experience, the experience that you create for your athletes, the home field advantage. You know, when you fill the stands, you know, and you bring another team coming into your place, and it should feel like they're walking into not just play you, but play kind of the entire community.
Yeah, hostile environment.
Yeah, totally, and that plays a part. It no doubt is a benefit playing at home. And so, to your point, like, they're all key components. They're all important, you know, but it does play a major factor, the stadium and then the NIL opportunities that Ole Miss is able to afford a lot of players and student athletes that have come in, not just through one sport, but through all of them.
You know, you look at softball and there's a high degree of failure. You hit 300 and you're
Yeah.
like a superstar, but that's
Yeah.
70% of the time that you're not
Yeah.
doing it. But I've noticed in your team that they just always look confident, whether, you know, defensively, offensively, in the circle. What is your MO as far as, you know, making your team a confident team, going on the field, regardless of who you're playing, we got a chance to win this? Because good gracious, we're going up against superstar programs every year.
You have to let your athletes know, like, that can be them.
Right.
You know, like, it's not, sometimes we think this vision of greatness, eliteness, and championships, you know, looks a certain way, but you have to be able to see yourself in those shoes, and then you have to speak it into existence and become it. And part of it is what we ask them to do in a competitive space is we have to prepare them for that. You have to, you know, challenge yourself in practice, and you have to face those stressors and being uncomfortable in practice, so that the first time you're experiencing isn't on the field, you know, playing another SEC opponent too, or playing in a regional championship game or a super regional game. So it's a holistic approach for us, but what we're going to ask of our players and how we want them to perform and compete and execute at the highest level, we have to train that and put them in those situations and practice and do it consistently. I think that's a big key to it too. So they are comfortable and they're not result based, and they're in the, you know, they're just kind of in the moment competing. And you have to love that it's hard sometimes. You have to expect that it's not, and sometimes it's fun to just go ruin someone's day, you know. So
Well, we're
I
on
love
the
it.
verge of being the one that we
Yeah.
got to
That's
guard
right.
against ruining
Yeah.
our day,
Yeah.
because
That's
you've
right.
lifted the program to
Yeah.
incredible heights. And I know that you're excited about this upcoming group. They all
Yeah.
got school today.
Yeah, day one, first day of another chapter in their lives, and certainly in their collegiate careers and academic experience too. So it's a great day to be part of. Obviously, a lot going on here on campus, you know, with them being in class 2. We have 2 of our new hires here on campus as well. So about to kind of hit the ground running here,
There you
and got some elite coaches joining our staff too, to help us carry on the traditions and past successes, but continue to elevate this program to a place that it hasn't been.
And to get the elite players, you need folks like the Grove Collective
You
keep
do.
going, don't they?
You do.
We do. We got to keep doing it. And again, I want our fans to understand that supporting our coach. Obviously, NIL is one of many factors that goes into the success, as you heard Coach say. And you know, the stadium, I mean, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great venue
Yep.
to get our fans around it. But you know, every dollar matters. And you know, we started this thing with 41 athletes, and now we have 185. So we've grown tremendously, and that takes resources. But again, we're a collective that we want to support all our sports on campus, all our young men and women that chose to come here. I do have a selfish request. I was a baseball player, and my daughter's a softball player.
Yeah.
And I try to like teach her and train her, and she tells me to shut up all the time.
Probably
So,
smart that she tells
yeah,
you that.
it's definitely smart. This isn't
She needs to go to
baseball.
Coach Draxler's
Well,
camp.
that's what I'm saying.
She's
Yeah.
got to go to camp.
This isn't baseball, Dad. So I'm going to have to enlist you and the coaching staff to get me back in the good graces with
Oh,
my
yeah.
daughter on the fast pitch softball world, because she does not think I know what I'm talking about. I think she may be right.
What position?
She's a center fielder and a pitcher. So
Oh, shoot.
yeah, she's a center fielder. She can run, but she pitching and hitting.
She can
you know,
run.
yeah.
She takes after Mama.
She
then.
takes
That's
after
what-
Mom. I mean, that's for sure. That's for sure. So I'm gonna have to get you to work on Lily a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh, we
no
got-
doubt.
Yeah.
We can take care of that for
Get
sure.
her up here to camp for sure.
Yeah.
Coach, we wish you the best this upcoming year.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for swinging by, and we really appreciate what you're doing with our softball program.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Ole Miss is a special place and continues to grow, and I'm just proud to be part of it under the leadership of Keith Carter and many of the other, you know, 80s, and looking forward to being part of another great year.
Awesome,
If you're
Coach.
not involved with Ole Miss softball as a fan, you got to do it. Brand new stadium coming. We're going to build that core group, get it stronger, and
Yeah.
more folks going to watch
Absolutely.
softball. Hey, we'll take another break. We've got Coach Lane Kiffin coming in here in just a moment as well, so we'll be back shortly. Hey, welcome back to our show. We've been collecting money for the Grove Collective. It's Collection Day, and we appreciate you being part of this, and it's going really, really well. David Coleman here with you, along with our man Walker Jones, who ran down that guy at Georgia.
Man.
Some help. That was
I
a
was
heck
waiting
of
for
a
you to
play.
finally work that in the broadcast.
well,
I mean, we've been
I
sitting here for
wanted-
2 hours, and you
You
hadn't
finally mentioned it. Yeah,
mentioned it. I know. God,
That's a
DK,
huge
come
win.
on. That was a huge
that guy
win.
had a long NFL career too, didn't he?
He did. He did. I
Unlike
think
the guy that ran him down. The
I-
guys
yeah.
that ran him down.
I think he was heckled pretty bad by getting caught by a linebacker 80 yards later. But as I told him when I met him 10 years later when he won the Super Bowl MVP,
Yeah.
I was like, I think you overcame that.
Hines Ward
Yeah, Hines Ward, I think you overcame
for
that.
Georgia. We got to
So,
go to Georgia this year. Woo,
I
baby.
know,
That's
I
going to be
know.
tough.
We beat him over there.
Hey,
So,
we're real excited. We got another special guest. Got Coach Kiffin lined up. He'll be here in just a moment that we're going to talk to here in a second. But you've got some more info, and I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you some questions personally before we wrap things up too.
Okay, great. Yeah, so every time we come back, we feel like we get some new updates. We're over $500,000 on gifts today
Wow.
for the day, which is
Wow.
phenomenal. Thank you so much. Continue to give. Referrals. You know, I talked a little bit about referrals. You know, if you're a current member, go refer people, tell them when they join, go to the referral section, put your name in there because we're going to be tracking that. And the person that refers the most new members is going to be able to do that Walk of Champions for the Georgia Tech game, which is going to be phenomenal. So definitely you want to do that. So referrals are really big. And also for the members that join today. So the people that join, I think we're close to 200 new members today. For those people that join, you're going to enter to win a chance to get 2 sideline passes, pregame sideline passes for the game of your choice, which will be really cool. So we'll take you down the sideline, let you walk through the tunnel, see the team warm up, go through the Manning Center, all that before a game. So if you join today, you'll enter to win that chance as well.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so really important. And then obviously, if you're already a member too and you upgrade your membership, there'll be another opportunity for you to get a really cool experience with that by upgrading your membership. So the people are listening, they're diving in, and you know, we're going to keep everybody posted throughout the week as these competitions keep going on.
Before we visit with Matt here in just a moment, you were coached by Tommy Tuberville. It's a weird world how things can cycle back around. He's now a senator, and you're back with him. To explain what's going on with you and Coach Tubb.
Well, I mean, just for everybody out there, the fact that Tommy Tuberville's a senator now really emphasizes saying you can be anything you want to be in life. I never thought my former coach would be one of
50
senators in the country. So, but anyway, you know, look, he's obviously done a great job, senator from Alabama, and you know, he is really championing the NIL movement for that group of senators, and really, you know, trying to help put the best model in place to create a sustainable model for our athletes, which is something that we're very important with. It's very important to us. So Keith, myself, Matt, some others, we went up to D.C., met with Coach Tuberville, had a great meeting with him and his staff, exchanged some information back and forth about the bill that he is proposing. So that was a really neat thing to be able to do that. And, you know, really, you know, having an ally like Coach, you know, I think he still appreciates us former players that played for him, and it's given us a great line to understand kind of what's happening on that legislative front. And the really cool thing about that is we're one of the few collectives that have that kind of access to kind of help shape this thing.
Yep, no doubt. Tell us who this guy is. Who is this guy?
Well, look, this guy, I think I spend about as much time talking to him as I do my wife, my mother, my kids. Matt McLaughlin with the Ole Miss Athletic Foundation. You know, last year, if you rewind, DK, we talked earlier about, you know, kind of a year to the date that we kind of relaunched this thing, and talking to Keith about getting his help and getting his input and getting resources. And he quickly championed Matt on the foundation side to be our go-to for the collective for NIL. And Matt has been nothing short of phenomenal for us. He's there every time we need something. He will continue to be there for us as a huge resource. And really, today was kind of your brainchild. I hate to say that because I like to hog all the good ideas.
Yeah, well, you can
But-
take the good idea if it ends badly. If it ends well, I'll take it. But
I think we're off to. I think, as I just said, I
the
think
paper looks like it's off to a good start.
it's off to a good
so,
start. So
yeah.
Matt kind of helped champion this idea. So it's great to have you, buddy.
Yeah.
thank you,
And,
Happy.
and it's some of you may recognize Matt's voice if you've watched Ole Miss baseball live stream. He's been the color analyst.
He made you bring that up.
He gave me $5. I'll give it to the NIL.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of compliments. I feel like I got some lunch I'm going to buy after this.
That's been kind of fun for you on the side too, right?
It is. You know, I was a former collegiate baseball player myself, so it keeps me close to the game and to the players and the coaches. Even though I'm sure that coaches may disagree with some of my assessments from time to time, but I've really enjoyed that. It kind of gets me fired up every February. You know, I married a volleyball player as well. She does our color commentary for volleyball, so she's my harshest critic when it comes to that.
I don't know. I'm pretty
I do
harsh.
get some text messages from a few people on occasion, but it is fun. But you know, along with that, just with what we do on the foundation side and what we do with NIL, you know, Walker and I talk about this frequently. We're trying to set these kids up for 40 years, not just 4.
Right.
And so things like this today can have a monumental impact more than you may think. You know, you may think, hey, that $50 I just gave online at thegrovecollective.com, you know, that's not going to make an impact. But it absolutely does because there's strength in numbers with that. So we talked about sustainability and the membership drive, and I really hope people take that to heart, what they give to the Athletics Foundation for support to support our student athletes, facility needs, all of those things. But with NIL, I mean, we are setting these kids up for a dramatic impact moving forward.
You know, a lot of fans ask too, okay, they want me to give the building deal. You've been at the foundation for a while. They want me to give to the foundation. You know, they want me to give to NIL and the Grove Collective. But all in all, you know, we're really trying to stir up more people, more giving. Yeah, sure, obviously more from somebody who's already giving, but also, you know, new people to get in the giving world.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Ole Miss has always had to, I'll steal your line, punch above its weight. And that's one of the things why I love working here so much. I mean, it is not as simple as, oh, you make 5 phone calls and you got the day's done. So, you know, on the foundation side, to, you know, accommodate, we know we're asking our fans to do more and more, especially the people who have been giving for a long time. You know, we launched new initiatives, Empower, which is a specific program designed for women's athletics, the first in the league. So that's one of the ways we're trying to capture new people. You know, we rolled out Forever Ole Miss last year, a planned giving program. Obviously, you know, we want people to give cash to the collective, and also the foundation. We have needs in supporting our student athletes, but to us, that is the way that we are trying to manage all of this, is find new programs to bring people in. And what we found is we can get new people in the door through the Vaught Society and things like that, and then they're also becoming contributors to the collective. So it's been, I would say it's been successful so far.
Well, and also, you know, I talked about it with Keith earlier, you know, the collectives that have that symmetry and that alignment with the foundation, with the athletic department, are the ones that are having the most success. And there's no more direct result of that than Matt and the staff there. So they continue to be a huge resource for us, and will continue in the future. And if there's a jump ball, definitely give the collective first for sure. I know Matt would say that. No, anyway, he's a great partner, DK, to us.
Hey, we got Coach Kiffin coming. You're the next one before Lane Kiffin. That's a pretty good seat.
I think people were a little confused when they saw me come on when Lane was coming on next.
Well, he is here. We'll have him on shortly. We'll talk some football. Matt, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And appreciate not only this area, but everything else you guys do with the foundation.
Thanks, guys.
We'll take a break. Lane Kiffin's coming up. And welcome back again, as we've had a fun day today, as we've had our Grove Collection Day, and the Grove Collective Executive Director, Walker Jones, has been here with us throughout the day, and it's been fun. We've talked a lot of head coaches. Now we've got head football coach Lane Kiffin going to join us. So you got a quick update? Or
Yeah, so we are just ticked over $600,000 in online giving today.
Oh, wow.
In the last hour. We've gone over 220 new members. And we've had 120 people upgrade their current membership. So we're doing good. We're doing good. We saved the best for last. I know he's going to push us over the top here. He's a fundraising machine straight off the practice field. But Coach, thanks for joining us. And yeah, things are off to a great start, DK.
No doubt. Hey, good to see you. I want to talk some football first, then we'll get into the NIL stuff. But,
Okay, good. I'm better at that than fundraising.
Are you?
Yeah, so I don't know what he's
You're
talking
pretty
about.
good at the portal and NIL
He's
too.
pretty
I mean,
good.
you're doing
He's
pretty good with that.
He's pretty
You
good.
know, got out ahead of the curve with this, when they first started. But all in all, how's camp gone? You feeling good about it?
I am. We got a million new faces, and I joked it's almost like an expansion team sometimes. I feel like learning the kids' names instead of the schools they came from. But what I do like about it is majority of those guys have started at other places. So it's not like you just have guys from nowhere. You got guys that were playing a lot of snaps at other places. Now they just got to come together, especially defensively.
Different programs teach different things, though. Do you get some bad habits that you don't like that you want to fix, or they all pretty much come in knowing the game like you want them to know the game?
No, I wish. Yeah, you got to, and nothing against how people do it, and it's just different. And
Right.
so you've got to, I kind of say like it would be like all these kids coming together from different families, and now you have them in one house, and now you got to get them all on the same rules, and so that is very challenging, and it takes a lot of work. And it used to be you just got to work on X's and O's. Now you got to work on culture more than ever, and integrating older people, because the old ways you always had to do it, but when we played, it was like, okay, the freshmen really weren't playing yet, so you had a year or two to get them fixed and get them into your culture. Well, the issue now is these new guys coming in a lot of times are your starters, so that's very challenging.
Yeah, no doubt. I think about just how the landscape has changed, and you and I have talked about this before, but on our coaches show, 2 weeks before this thing really kind of got underway, you were talking about how it's going to change things, and we got to be ahead of the curve, and as far as those transfer portal kids and how to deal with them, and how to build a roster, and all of those things. And Walker and I were talking. The collective has been really good, and it's generated some incredible funds and all, and no bigger than it has been for football.
Yeah, well, and Coach has been, I think one of the questions we get a lot of times is like, football has so many numbers. Basketball is a little different, baseball is all these other sports different. Football, it's a massive process. And Coach, being a former NFL head coach, and his experience being in other places, I think has been very fortuitous to us because there is a system in place. We're not just throwing darts at a board. Austin Thomas, Coach Kiffin, the staff do a great job of a lot of adding analysis and a structure in place, Coach. So, a little bit, just talk to them a little bit about, at a high level, your experience in roster management and how we kind of try to look at things a little different in a little bit of that pro mindset when you're talking about the portal and using NIL to replenish your roster.
Yeah, I'm not saying we have all the answers, but we've had staff turnover and hired new coaches that have come from other places, and when they come in, they say, okay, wow, this is really different here, how you guys look at things, and than other places they were at. And I just think that, we've always said no matter what it is, we have to evolve, and we can't just do things how they were done before. And we've always said that in all areas. Now this is a whole different area of doing things, and it really is like professional sports that way, and understanding and treating it too that these are your funds, okay, and taking care of them like they are your own, and how are you going to use them, versus just, okay, well, we just got to get these players no matter what, and really looking at it more as a whole roster management. And so
Which includes retention.
Sure does.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, and I think it's been well documented that I kind of say how it is, and have been saying that for a couple of years, that it is just like professional sports that way. People in professional sports look at, okay, these guys are coming up in free agency, okay, well, what is their value versus they go somewhere else, and then, you use those funds for other players coming in.
The model may change, it may have a different parameters coming up. We don't know. We're not 100% sure where that's going to go, but I was really impressed with the fact that you attacked it as, hey, these are the rules, and we're going to play the game this way until we know otherwise.
Yeah, I think I took some criticism for people not really necessarily listening to all that I said at the SC Media Days, saying, hey, you know, we're the first ones that take advantage of the system and use what it is and utilize it the best that we can. And then I said, but it is a broke system, and it's not a good system at all that's in place that is well beyond any of our control, and came from the top and just said, okay, well, now there's the portal and there's in and out, and no really parameters around it, and no really system. So that's where the problem is. It's not like we're sitting there saying, well, that's a problem, we're not going to utilize it, because anybody that says, okay, well, we're not going to understand the issues, and we're not going to evolve and change, they won't win any games. You know, you'll have a new coach up here really quick.
But you're 100% for the players, you know, getting this opportunity, maximizing their, you know, NILs.
Yeah, for sure. That part of it was long overdue for years. Players should have been getting paid, but there would be parameters and a system around it, just like there is in professional sports.
Right.
You know, Coach, we talk a lot about, you know, and we get asked a lot of this, and I know you do too, about the locker room. You know, and these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that haven't had the luxury of being in a professional setting in their life yet. And I think you and the staff really take a very kind of brutally honest approach to that. And just because, you know, it is a different dynamic that nobody has dealt with before. Just talk a little bit in the ultimate team sport that is football, maintaining the locker room, but also the benefit of having a really mature football team, because a lot of those new faces you talked about are guys that have played a lot of football, and they're more mature, and so maybe that helps balance that out a little bit. Just
yeah, and it is unique, which is crazy. The true seniors on our roster, over 90% of them are from other places. You know, they didn't sign here initially, so just think about how strange that is. Basically, your oldest veterans are all from other places. So we're very, like you said, brutally honest with the guys and say, okay, this is the system, this is how it is, but you're going to deal with this in professional sports and the rest of your life, that, you know, everybody's not going to make the same, and there's going to be some people that make more than others, even though that person isn't necessarily playing better than that person. And so that's just how it is, and you're going to deal with that at the next level. So, you know, understand whatever deal you made is what you made, and play out your year. And, you know, if you want more, play better. That's usually the case. And just like in work, you know, if you want more, work better.
Yeah, and you've said that a good bit. You know, want more, play better.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Difficult schedule, obviously, for this team. Unlike some of the other coaches we talked today, you've been in practice now for some time. What's your gut feeling about this team and possibilities with it?
Yeah, I don't look that far ahead. I never have, and especially nowadays with so much to work on with so many new parts. And I didn't mean to speak it into existence, kind of jinx us last year, but I said, guys, hey, everybody was all excited about this portal, and you have all these names and stars coming from all these places. And I said, whoa, that's good, but there's also a side of culture. There's a side of coming together that, you know, we've seen that when you study NBA kind of all-star teams that are put together in free agency, and once the season doesn't necessarily go the way they want it to, they kind of fall apart. And unfortunately, that happened with us. Once it kind of started going in a bad direction, you had a different culture, different group of guys that hadn't been together to fight through that adversity. So, and that falls on me as the head coach. So those are new challenges that you didn't used to have.
It's got some skill, though. It's been fun to watch him in practice.
Yeah, it really has. And again, it may sound like, okay, well, he's complaining. I'm just telling you what the system brings, good and bad. Right. And the good part, the really good part is, you know, if it wasn't for the Grove Collective, if it wasn't for our donors coming together, we would not have a very good, exciting season coming up. I can tell you that. So, you know, they say, well, you're the coach. Okay, well, that's great. But if you know, I guess try to go hunting with no ammo. You know, it doesn't go very well.
Yeah. Your biggest portal get may have been defense coordinator.
I used hunting, by the way. I'm
you're
becoming more Mississippi. I didn't even use fishing.
You didn't use fishing.
I didn't.
I know it.
Our Realtree friends will appreciate
that. We got fishermen on the Gulf Coast.
I was going to say try to go out in deep water without any live bait and see how that works for you.
Yeah.
Doesn't last very long. Coach, you know, you've used the analysis, and I think it's a great one, the analogy. our fans and the people that give to the collective are like investors
Yeah.
investing in a business. You know, and when you do that, you want to know all about it. You want to understand it, because generally when people don't understand something, they shy away from it. And we've tried to do a good job of telling everybody about the collective and how we work with the coaches and the system and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, just, you know, in general, Coach, you know, your experience, and, you know, we've relaunched this thing about a year ago. But, you know, for those people that have given and have invested or are thinking about doing it, you know, understanding the model and understanding that we're being really efficient with our money and we have a process, you know, what would you say to those people so they could take away a peace of mind knowing that if I choose to give my hard-earned dollars in addition to buying tickets, it's going to be really impactful and it's incredibly important? Because I don't know, Coach, agree with it or not, but like, has there been a greater correlation to winning than NIL and the portal? I mean, to be able to win and win quick and rebuild your roster that equates to winning, the Jimmys and the Joes,
Yeah.
getting on your roster, there probably hadn't been a better time to do that.
Sure, and I mean that's not, you know, like we study everything. Whether it used to be look at plays in the NFL, well, look at models in the NFL, and look at salary caps in Major League Baseball and luxury taxes, and you know, those big payrolls win a lot more games than little payrolls. That's just how it works.
Yep.
And I hadn't said this, and I was thinking about it the other day. Really, Oxford, Ole Miss, State of Mississippi would be most like, somebody said, well, what would it be closest? I said the Green Bay Packers. You know, an awesome community, not the huge city of some of these other places or enrollments,
Passionate fan
you
base.
know, but a fan base that comes together that really owns the team.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is well, we're not going anywhere without our fans and donors. You know, you say you're not going anywhere without fans in the stands. Now it's fans and donors that, you know, and you're investing in it and it comes back, because it's a lot more exciting to go to games and sit in your luxury boxes and your seats with really good players out there. So you give something, you get something back.
Nothing wrong with being transparent. Coach.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it is, for sure. Personal note, got a daughter who's enrolled at Ole Miss, got into a sorority. How cool is that?
That is really cool. Today's the first day of school, and so she's probably mad at me for saying, but I just talked to her. She's already tired because she had a class this morning. So,
One class
yes,
and she's
one
whipped.
class. But it's not just her group of friends. Everybody's tired. And I said, okay,
Yeah.
well, you guys, it's day one, you know. So
Rush can be tough.
yeah, it was a lot harder than I thought. That was like 2 days for players. You know, I had no idea about it. Just like a lot of people don't know 2 days for football. I just thought like, hey, you just pick a sorority and you go there. And I learned, you know, this was like a month-long process.
Tells us he's too tired to go to class. You can take a bunch of online stuff.
We
We didn't get to do
have
that in
when
our
I
day. We
was
didn't know what
around. Yeah, we
online
didn't have
was.
that around. Coach, a couple quick things before we let you go. We have a specially designed shoe, Lane Kiffin shoe, that I believe you've seen, that I think hopefully maybe gets you to wear either through the Walk of Champions or on the sideline, that we're going to be selling on the Grove Collective website starting later this week. It's a limited drop. They're really cool. I think they look great.
Yeah, I'd like to take credit for that. You guys came up with this idea, which, I mean, you know, it's kind of like LeBron, Air Jordan, you know, like
Lane Kiffin
shoes, even though I'm not a good player, but, you know.
But
hey.
you're great. That's why I said you're a great fundraiser. So we put those shoes on you and we get you to wear them at the right time. So we're going to be selling those. All that money is going to go to the collective. So, Coach, thank you for agreeing to do that. We also have some really cool promotions about Walk of Champions and some other stuff for our members out there. Because as Coach has told me and told others, he wants our fans to feel like this is their program and they're investing in their program. So we want to bring our members that have joined today and joined previously, you know, closer to the program. And then, Coach, last thing, the question we all get asked, and the dynamic that's really fascinating is the 4 quarterbacks. How are they all doing? How's the room doing? Obviously, that's the position that if you're going to invest in, that'd be the one to invest in. But just close us a little bit on just those 4 guys.
Yeah, it's really an awesome situation. You know, sometimes we sit in the staff and go, well, how should we wrap this? How should we wrap that? Like almost like it's a problem. I'm like, guys, this is a wonderful problem to have, because around the country every year there's people that all of a sudden don't have a problem like that, and someone goes down, and you know, you see the difference. You can see really good teams. I mean, there's one last year. You know, a good team and the quarterback goes down, and now they're playing a rivalry game, losing 50-0 because of the quarterback. So. It is the most important position. That's why those guys are so valued in the NFL, and you know, they make your program go.
You've had a couple of scrimmages. I guess you've got a mock scrimmage left before you get ready for the game. It's going to be here next week. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be here quick, and exciting to be out there, and to be in the heat, and so it's good. You know, like you got to get used to the heat. So I guess we got 100 degrees coming in here for a few days in a row. So then when the game's at 1 o'clock and it's only 90 degrees, hey, it won't be that hot.
It'll feel great.
It'll feel great. Bring your little fans.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, wish you the best. Everybody's so excited about, of course, cranking up a new sports season in general, but especially Ole Miss football. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be on here, and thanks Walker for this whole thing because like I've said a few times on here, the plays don't work otherwise, and so it doesn't matter how much time we go in here devising schemes if we don't have players. And we did a graphic the other day of what our roster would look like, without the collective and what it looks like now, and it was kind of scary the other way.
Yeah.
Well,
he showed that to me. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I knew we
I
were
was going to
important,
throw
but
at him
yeah.
too. His
Yeah.
best portal get may have been Pete Golding as the defense coordinator, so I know you're excited to have him on that side.
Yeah, we certainly are. For Pete to come over from Alabama and not just a great coach, but a phenomenal recruiter. I think you're already seeing that pay off.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank
Appreciate you.
Have a
Hey, we
good day.
appreciate you. We'll be back for a wrap-up thought. Walker's got a couple more things he wants to pass your way, so don't leave us. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back one last time for our Grove Collection Day. Hopefully you've participated in the Grove Collection Day.
It's a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister, but we've gotten several people participate. We appreciate it. By the way, before we move on, this screen behind us is like one of the fanciest in America, right? Michael was giving me some info earlier about this. We are in the recruitment theater. So recruiting theater, where they bring recruits in. They get to watch stuff on this gigantic board here behind us, and you can't see it all, but we've got these gorgeous plush seats, and this is part of the Manning Center. We're in the brand new Manning Center, and I've had a chance to get a tour of this place. It is nuts.
It's just like what I had when I played it.
Yeah, right. Including what's the big,
minus the Turner Center.
What do they call it? The big egg thing that you can get in that's got all the salt in it and
Oh,
you
yeah,
float.
yeah.
I forget the name of it.
They told us to go jump in the Turner
Oh, my
Center pool when I was
You
playing.
sleep
there.
in it for 30 minutes. You float in this water. It's like getting a 2-hour nap.
Yeah, I don't- yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they didn't have that when Walker was here. That's for sure.
No.
Hey, it's been a good day. We appreciate all our coaches and all, but
Yeah.
I know you got some wrap-up thoughts about it. But this has been a good day, and it's going to be a good week as we continue.
Yeah,
this.
good. You're right, DK. Thank you, first of all,
Sure.
For helping us with this, and to Ole Miss Sports Productions and the foundation and everybody that's taken a part today to help launch this first ever. You know, anytime you do something for the first time, you don't really know what's going to happen. But from everything that our staff has told me in between our breaks, we're raising a lot of money. We've had a good amount of new members join. We've had a lot of members upgrade their membership. We've had a lot of one-time donations for current members. And again, we want to call them to refer, have our 5,000 plus members to refer new members so they can enter to win that Walk of Champions deal. And just so everybody knows, and we're going to put this out later this week or this afternoon, and I had to have a sheet to keep it straight, but we're auctioning off pregame sideline passes for the game of your choice, signed Quinshon Judkins helmet and football, Friday night team meal and film study with the football team.
Oh, wow.
So you get to come in, you and a guest come in, eat with the team, listen to the film study. We're going to auction that off for a lot of our annual members, because really we had a big group this time last year. We had about 1,000 people join as annual members. So you can either be a monthly member, you can make a one-time donation, or you can do it on an annual. And those of you that joined on the annual membership, their memberships are now coming due, because really, if you think back to last year, we really kind of launched the Grove Collective into high gear in September.
Right.
So we had a lot of those 1,000 people join from September to November. And so what we would ask those people to do, go ahead and renew now. Go ahead, don't wait till your renewal date 2 months from now or in October or in November. Go ahead and renew today. And if you renew your annual membership today, you enter to win these really cool experiences, one of which will be the Friday night team meal and the film study and the Walk of Champions, which will be really cool. So if you're an annual member, go ahead and go to the website, re-enter your information, re-up your annual membership. I think that'll be really good. We've also got behind-the-scenes tour of the Tui Center, the Pavilion, and men and women's basketball practice. We have a opportunity for new apparel and an apparel credit on our team store. So we have a Squad Locker store available to any and everybody on our website. We also have a members-only store with Genteel behind the paywall. I'm wearing my Grove Collective polo right now. I also have a shout-out to Blue Delta. I also have my Blue Delta Grove Collective jeans on with the Grove Collective logo here. So
Nick fixed you up there.
yeah, fixed me up good, and so really excited about that. And throw Nick and the crew at Blue Delta a little love. And then, those are just, again, we're going to put these experiences out there on the website for everybody to see, everybody to take part in, because we want to reward our people and give them access to our program. So, again, the lesson for today is join, donate, upgrade, refer, keep us going. I think, DK, after hearing from all our coaches and our athletic director, I think people realize just how important this really is.
No doubt.
And also too, as Robin Patano said, the Business Coalition. Go online, shoot us an email, give us a phone call if you want to join the Grove Collective Business Coalition. Again, we're going to have 9 student athletes from Oxford that are going to be ambassadors for that program, which will be really, really cool. So that's another thing where we're just enhancing that town and gown relationship.
Yeah, no doubt. We appreciate Robin coming out, taking some time from duties downtown to participate with us as well. I want to thank all of our head coaches. I think I get the overall feel that we're in a good spot, we're on our way to being in a great spot with NIL.
Yeah, DK, that's a great point. I mean, we are leading from the front. You know, we were recognized by a very large media outlet, I think a month or two ago, as one of the top 10 collectives, most ambitious collectives in the country. And if you look at the list of those schools that are on there,
Big schools.
some big schools. We're in the deep end of the pool, but that's where we want to be. You heard Coach Bianco talking about, look, we chose to live in this neighborhood,
Right.
and we love being in this neighborhood, but it comes with a cost, and it comes with responsibility, and that's for us to give. And so, you know, we've been recognized as a highly functioning collective, but to continue that position of strength, we have to keep giving. And let me just say, thank you so much for what you have done to this point. Our people have trusted us. They've given. They've allowed us to you know, get into this position. But as you heard from the coaches today, we have to keep going. The model will adapt, like everything in life. The model will change. But right now, we've got a bunch of coaches that understand how to use the model. We have a highly functioning and efficient collective, and I think we're set up for success.
Hey, and thank you. My goodness, when you were recruited all those years ago, and we convinced you to come play for the Ole Miss Rebels. I don't think Grove Collective was anywhere in your mind back in those days, right?
I know it was. Look, a year ago, when I first got the phone call from Coach Kiffin and Keith and others, I had a very limited understanding of NIL, and so I never thought I'd be in this situation. But it's humbling. I'm honored. I have a great staff. You know, again, you're only as good as the people you put around you, and I've got a great staff here in Oxford. And look, this is personal for us. All of our staff went to school here. A couple of us were former athletes here, and it means more than just a job. And it's personal to us, and we're going to continue to do the best we can to be successful.
Thank you much. Appreciate you.
Buddy.
Hey, then we'll wrap it up. Again, you can go to thegrovecollective.com. That's where everything starts. Be sure to check that out, and then they'll continue to run this throughout the week. And we hope that that you'll feel led to help, and you know that a high percentage of this money is going directly to the student athletes.
It is. It's going. We pride ourselves. Even though we're a for-profit LLC, because that's what you have to be per the IRS, but we function like a nonprofit. Yeah. We're trying to push as many dollars to our athletes as possible. So follow us on social media. We got a lot of stuff coming on social media today. The rest of the week, as DK said, this is today is a big day, but it's going to last the full week. Social media, on the website. We have a phone number listed. We have an info email as well. Hit us with questions and continue to do what Ole Miss fans do, and that's give and be mighty. So.
And as Coach Yo said, she wants bees in the seat. So
That's
let's start that.
That's
Sports season is here.
Let's
We've
go.
got soccer already going. Football's coming up. We can't wait to see you here in Oxford if you're watching us from afar. Thanks a lot. We'll catch you next time.